This is the Praga Bohema. It's a £1.2 million track-focused hypercar, born here in the Czech Republic. It's powered by a Japanese engine tuned by a UK company, and it is also, apparently, luxurious and practical. So to test that, I'm going to drive it several hundred miles. I'm on the tram track! And stop off here, here, and here to try and break some lap records. To me, that sounds quite ambitious.
But first, let's get out of the city, which is Prague, in case you hadn't noticed, where the Bohema was born.
Now this just looks to me like a racing car with license plates and windscreen wipers. Oh, it's a speed bump. Oh, not too bad. Yeah, it just looks like a racing car with license plates, windscreen wipers, headlights and no sponsorship. But if you look at it, you look at all the gaps and the voids in the bodywork, it's about what's not there as much as what is. And the thing you'll notice straight away is it's got a Hewland 6-speed single-clutch sequential gearbox. And when you put this car into gear, it engages like you're racking the pump on a shotgun. It's like ga-gung.
And I don't think it's beautiful in the traditional sense, but it is outrageous, and park it anywhere.
Especially here in Prague, you will get a crowd in about 0.1 of a second. It's a very popular thing, and that's probably what most hypercar owners want, right?
Thing is, unlike some road legal cars, the Bohema can go through town. It just feels like making a racehorse join Pony Club. And every eye in every moment is on you, so I headed out of town.
The interesting thing is that the Bohema, it's not gone down the hybrid 1000 horsepower route. It's only got 700 horsepower and it's just rear wheel drive. But it is, for this kind of thing, incredibly light. It's 982 kilograms to be precise. It's a couple of 100 kilograms lighter than the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which is something to think about. So you get 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.3 seconds, 186 miles an hour top speed, a bit more than that. But it's not about how fast this car is, it's about the way it goes around the corner and about how it reacts. And that lack of weight affects everything. So it's about the feeling you get through your bottom, the way the car turns in off your wrists, the absolute confidence that this thing breeds. It just feels absolutely intense. But the engine is a VR38 jet engine. Now that's from a Nissan R35 GTR, so it's a V6 bi-turbo. It's tuned by Litchfield in the UK, who currently have GTR engines running at 2000 horsepower. So a 700 brake tune is going to be mega reliable. You want to know how much Praga believes in this engine? Well, if you're just doing road work, they'll give you an unlimited mileage warranty. That's unheard of! Sweet Jesus.
It is a pretty committed car for the road though, so I thought we'd pop into here. This is Autodrom Most, just outside Prague. A brilliant little track where we can set the Bohema free and hopefully catch a lap record.
So here we can start to push the car a little bit more and figure out what it can do. The problem is, on the road, the Bohema is fast, precise, lightweight, all of the good stuff. But it's about as sympathetic as a recently fired bullet. On the track you can start to push it, it's not as unsettled by bumps, and it starts to get really exciting. The thing is, it is still, how can I put this? A little bit scary. So I'm going to pop into the pits for a quick tweak. Woo! So if you're a committed trackist, there are a couple of things you might want to do to your Bohema to make it properly ready for a track attack session. First of all, you want to take off the number plates. So if you look at these, they're actually on little rubber mounting points, and you can just pull them off like that. But then at the back, it's got like a mobile phone charging point contactless system, so that the number plate lights still work. And then there's the fronts. There's two little locating rods here, which you just pop off. And then if you're careful, you can undo this little section here. Oh, hang on, let's work that out. By doing that. You see how that will be really solid when you're on the road. It's not going to come off, but it's all quick release. It's a bit like a mountain bike. Now, a standard option tyre on this car are Michelin Cup 2Rs. Now, I think they're actually a little bit marginal as a road car tyre in the rain, but on a dry racetrack, they are the kiddie. They also come in 19-inch sizes, so you can get slick tyres for this if you want to go absolutely full bore. And when you're driving on track and you're wearing a helmet, you need a bit more space. So you can take the headrests, pull them off, because they're on magnets, take out this 3D printed padding, and then pop them back on. It gives you the extra space. And the last thing you might want to do is adjust your ride height. Now, it looks complicated. It's got Öhlins pushrod inboard suspension, so it's kind of a bit scientific. But apparently, any idiot can change the ride height, because you just wind out this nut here and then measure the distance and lower the ride height. It's basically exactly the same process at the front. You've got a central nut with two at either end, and you measure the distance between the two. This is again set at road height. You undo these two nuts, and then you can adjust whichever way you want to go. And we're going to go down, so we're going to lower the ride height for that particular track. So it's a little bit of a cagey one, but actually, there you go. And then we'll spin them down and make it low and make it fast.
Now for some record breaking. The Bohema, in theory, should post up times in line with a GT3 race car. Unfortunately, I wouldn't. So to cover the skills gap, I've brought in a pro. This is Aleš Jirasek, Praga's test driver, circuit racer and committed rallyist. He's a bit like the Stig, except he actually smiles and eats human food. Now, the record for a road car around here is 1:39.91 by a Porsche GT3 RS on the same Cup 2R tyres. So let's see how this goes.
Now, that car should develop about 950 kilos of downforce at 155 miles an hour. And you will hit 155 miles an hour on most racetracks, so it's not a kind of ludicrous figure.
It's basically one big aero device with a carbon fibre monocoque and body, hence the lightness. And that's what I think will make it fast. Which it is. And Aleš, being a racing driver, was fast.
You won't believe this, but he's within 0.2 of a second. So that's basically 1:35 by my watch. Let's go and check the official timing, but at that, he's absolutely smashed the lap record.
That's 1:35.10 for the first lap, 1:35.09 for the second, so nearly 5 seconds faster than the previous lap record. But I do have questions.
Like, who is Praga, and why should we be interested? Well, I've come to the start of the 1,000 miles of Czech rally to find out, because this is literally where Praga comes from, and there are quite a few of the old ones knocking around here.
A lot of this stuff is wrapped up in history. Praga is a manufacturer that's been around since 1907, manufacturing cars, trains and buses. But the word Praga can also refer to the company's hometown of Prague. And Praga has done all sorts of things. Currently, it manufactures the R1 single-seat track car, which is a kind of tiny track day Batmobile. This absolutely stunning ZS800 motorbike, of which there'll only be 28 in honour of the 1928 bike that inspired it, a load of very serious racing karts, and my favourite, the V4S DKR Dakar racing trucks. And there's even a Praga Alpha multi-purpose aeroplane. Yep, as a company, it does seem to cover a lot of bases.
And as a company, it's been going for 115 years, which means there are quite a few cars that have gone before the Bohema.
The 1,000 miles of Czech Republic was fabulous, and we road tripped with some of the cars from the start, and the vibes were immaculate. But soon we had to peel off for another date. at another circuit, this time in Brno. But first, we need to have a look at the Bohema's usability.
One of the things that Praga says about the Bohema is that it's luxurious and practical. And when you see it, it doesn't look that practical, does it? But it has a few secrets. First of all, this is how you do the door. There's a little push button here. You pop it. I say door, it's more of a flap. You open it up like that, and then just under here, there are some buttons. There's 3 buttons, one each side and one in the middle. If I press this one, this pops open, and then in this side pocket here, saddlebags. Now these are about 45 litres a piece, but you can open them, you can put a race helmet in them, and they're both sides. And then underneath, there's also some of the rescue kit. So there's like tyre foam and a towing iron, stuff like that. But they fit absolutely perfectly, and they are really nice quality. It's almost like you could go into your hotel room with it. It's a cool piece of luggage. One of the big things that people ask is how you get into a Bohema elegantly. You kind of can't, but there are tricks. First of all, you open the door flap, then you can reach inside and pull off the steering wheel. Now this becomes a bonus security feature because you can take this with you when you leave. Pop that onto the dash, like so. And then, if you sit on the side pod, you can swing your legs in. And what you're aiming to do is, there's a metal foot pad down there. If you've got wet feet, you don't really want to be putting them where you're going to put your bottom. So you kind of swing in, put your leg on the metal foot pad, drop your legs into the hole, and then kind of slump into position, like so. Once you're in, there are a few details that I wanted to point out, because the longer you spend with this car, the more you come to appreciate the little things that make it slightly easier to use. First of all, it's where you put the key. So this is the key, nice carbon key. There is a little slot just here in the tub where you can put the key and it switches on the electronics. Now that's because you can pop that in there when you're outside of the car, so you've got both hands free to do your little slump into the seat. Once you get here, you have a little bit of adjustability in terms of the steering column, so you can put that yoke where you want it. Then there's another lever to the left down here, and if you pull that there, you release the pedals. Now the pedals will move forward or back, so if you want them further back, you release that little lever, push it back with your heel to where you're comfortable, and then you lock it in position again. On this side, there's the door opening, that's electric, but there's a mechanical one up in the roof section here, and on both sides are the adjusters for the mirrors, and they're electric, and you can reach this one, so it's not a problem. Then once you've got your yoke steering wheel on, just push these back, pop it on like that, and it will click in. This will come on because the key is already in the tub. There's just loads of things in here that make it make sense. So when you start the car, all you have to do is press ignition and start, and it fires up. And then up in this central section in the roof is one of the best systems for doing jobs I've ever seen, because it's a set of buttons, but you can put 3 fingers in. So on this side, these 3 are temperature, fan speed, and where the blowers are pointing. And you put your fingers in, you know which one it is, and then in the middle here is a rotary control for changing things. So say I want to change the temperature, click that one, and then turn it down or up. If I want to change the fan speed, I click the middle one. It's so simple, it's beautiful. You can change the menu with this button. Over here we've got fog lamps and the air conditioning. Then in the center console, this car's all about lightweight, so they didn't want to have a proprietary sat-nav that was going to go out of date. So all you've got, like a Dacia, but I think it's brilliant, is this little set here, which then pops your phone into. So I can use Waze, it's all Apple CarPlay enabled, all the rest of it, because it's just my phone. And then behind it here is a USB charging port, so you've not got to have loads and loads of things wobbling about. The aircon works. There's a couple of buttons down here, defrost, the parking brake, and the hazard lights. And then under here is a button that can have a fire suppression system in it. So if you're going to do serious track days, you can have a little anti-fire thing. Behind the seats is a place to keep a flask or a bottle of water. That's really useful. And there's a USB charger in the back there as well. So there's an optional Bose speaker if you want a better stereo. It has a subwoofer in the back, you can charge it up. It's one of those cars that you start to appreciate the quality as you sit in it. The yoke, when you've got it set up properly, is exactly the right height. And then there's a little button under here, which is under my bum, which if I switch the ignition on, I can alter the way the seat, can you see it's moving slightly? I can alter my eye line. So the seat is like a cup. I'll just switch that off. The seat is like a cup, and you can rock back and forth and adjust your eye line in relation to the yoke, but it doesn't adjust the seat back. But it means that you can actually get the perfect position whether you're 5'4" or 6 foot. Other than that, the seats are basically Alcantara on carbon, and they do have these wings which do limit your vision slightly, but the quality of this interior, there's no rattles that aren't from the transmission and engine. Everything is beautifully carbon fibered up or Alcantara, and it feels like a very expensive, very, very pointed car.
So, same idea here. I adjust the ride height, we sort out the number plates, Alex does his thing.
So that lap was, his last lap was 2.01.69. He's just done a 2.01.67. That is consistency. I can't believe that. I mean, this is the unofficial timing, but that is pretty mega.
The official times turned out to be a lap record by another Porsche GT3 RS of 2 minutes 8.7. The Bohema, for the official timings, managed 2:01.6. 7 seconds snatched from that ribbon of tarmac is impressive. Another win. But we had even more miles to do, so back in the Bohema for more road stuff, and we took the less scenic route and just drove. And drove. For hours.
Time for a bit of a Sitrep. Now that I've been driving this car for a few hundred miles, and I've kind of got used to it. I have to say that race cars for the road have never been my thing. I think they're compromised. They never worked out why you try and have a race car on the road rather than just having a road car and a race car, something dedicated. And when I first got in it, I just thought it was a little bit intimidating. It's hard to get into, it's hard to get out of. Everything feels like it's just going to be a bit too aggressive for the road. But there's a detail and a quality to this car that I've come to appreciate. And it's a car born of kind of veiled aggression. It wants you to go faster all the time. And then when you do, it is sharper than wit. I have got more out of driving this car than I have lots and lots of other more sophisticated, more expensive, in some ways a lot quicker cars, but this is somehow special because it's got that niche. It's got no electronics that stifle the experience or make you look better than you are. Once you figure out that this car rewards aggression, rewards you taking it by the scruff of the neck and actually making it do what it was built to do, it is sensational. And it's so much better than you are. You can grow with the car. It's not really a road car, but it is a car that can go on the road. But it's not one of these fancy pants cars that overheats and goes bad on you. You beat this car half to death and it comes with you. And we're about to do it again on another track. So let's see what this thing's really got.
So here's our final test, the mighty Slovakia ring. One last record to break. The lap time here is 2 minutes 10 seconds. We know that the Bohema is furiously quick on circuit, but it's also a bit twitchy, and we don't have much track time, only half an hour in fact. So I drafted in a bit more help to get the car out on track. And that's when something went wrong.
Something's wrong. It's going out the back as well. Okay, that looks like lap over. Let's go and see what's happening.
turns out that in the rush, we didn't quite click the rear clamshell bonnet shut. Arash didn't see the warning light because of his helmet, and it decided to pop open at 175 miles an hour on the back straight, and the results were spectacular. But Praga remained undaunted, and luckily this is Praga's own test track. A few phone calls to get another bonnet, a bit of motorsport engineering, and booking some more track time, and the Bohema was ready to go again, scraped, bruised, battered, but undaunted.
That's 203.
Okay, so
203.6.
But it means that you pretty much roughly equal as our lap record here.
Oh, okay. That's pretty solid. Told you it'd be fast. After today, that's brilliant. So, the Praga Bohema. It's a strange one. It's not an easy car to tour or town in, but it definitely can do it. It's more race car than road car, and you can easily argue that a GTR engine isn't actually that exotic. But this is a car that has just done a trip across an entire country and visited 3 different racetracks and set the lap record on each one on the same set of tyres. That's incredible. It's an ode to lightweight, carefully crafted engineering and just making the right sorts of compromises. I used to think that a track-focused hypercar that actually works was a complete myth. Turns out I was wrong. The Bohema isn't a myth, it's more of a legend.